remind everyone of the following. Public comment shall be limited to 3 minutes unless otherwise specified by the board. Participants must be recognized by the presiding officer and note their name and municipality. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer rather than to individual board members, district employees, or members of the public. A speaker may speak once during each comment period. Please note that these sessions are designated for comments to protect the confidentiality and privacy rights of all members of our community, and the board encourages members of the public to direct any comments regarding particular individuals such as students or district employees privately to the superintendent or other appropriate administrators or board members, or to communicate with the board and superintendent privately by sending an email to psdschoolboard@penridge.org. Questions raised and not addressed may be followed up at a later time. All right. Chris, I'm going to
Do I just stand here?
Sure. Yeah, you can go to the podium or...
Okay, probably easier over there. I wrote this because I didn't want to forget anything. Thank you for your time, first of all. My name is Chris Uncango. I own a home at 264 Park Ridge Drive, and I've lived there for 20 years. I've just left Percy Parks and Recreation, which I was there for 9 years. I'm now retired. I've umpired high school baseball, American Legion, different organizations for over 40 years, as well as Cooperstown Dream Park every year at the Hall of Fame in New York. I'm appearing before you tonight to ask you to consider supporting middle school baseball for the 3 Penridge middle schools. I've been approached every summer by residents asking me why we don't have baseball in our middle schools. Our district is probably second in size to North Penn, and all their middle schools support baseball teams. Solderton has 2, Quakertown, now Strayer now has 3 teams because of the closing of Milford Middle School. I called Athletic Director Babb at Penridge High School and asked his opinion. He told me fields would be the first problem. I spent a week checking out possible fields for all 3 schools. Not my job, but I was glad to put in the time. I sat with East Rock Hill Parks and Recreation over the possibility of using James Park, which is up on Ridge Avenue, for South Middle School. I went to the field at Central and observed that the front field near the road had been used for baseball before, simply the way the field was cut out. Then I wrote a letter to Deep Run Athletic Association for the possibility of using their senior baseball field for North Middle School. Deep Run never answered, but I do feel it would be available. I phoned the AD and told him of what the possibilities and fields were. His exact words were, okay, great. I will get in touch with the administrators and see if they will support middle school baseball. I'll get back to you. That was the first week of October. To this day, the man has not called me back. What I did hear a week before Christmas is that now Penridge varsity, either this spring or next spring, will be playing their games at James Park up on the ridge. Now, if that happens, they still have to come to Parks and Recreation for the use of 2nd Street, which I feel they're going to do is move their JV over there and leave the freshmen near the buses. If we put middle school in, there's no reason why JV and freshmen can't use 2nd Street, leaving that field near the buses for the middle school students, if we have baseball, to walk to their fields. They don't have to get in bases get on buses with their home teams, okay, for their home games. I would ask that you consider middle school baseball for our middle school children in the spring of 2021. Baseball training for these children would be much more structured. In addition, it would without question improve the high school program, which needs improvement. We haven't had a championship since 1985, okay? Little League is okay, but they don't get the training they do at a middle school program simply because anyone here has been involved in Little League. The head coach, the best player on the team is usually his son, and the next 3 or 4 players are given major attention, and then 2 or 3 are sitting out in right field playing in the dirt. I was involved for many, many years. That goes on whether you believe it or not, okay? So I'm asking that consider it, because it would take that time to get everything together. It would, without question, improve the program at the high school. New children are moving into this district every year, and new developments popping up all the time. I can assure you, just talking to people on the street, parents, kids would appreciate middle school baseball. And I know it's a lot, it's expensive. I wish I had more time to plead my case. Thanks for your time.
Superintendent, thank you. Would you make sure before you leave, leave your phone number on that form that you signed in on?
Okay.
And I'll make sure that myself or somebody gets back to you this week.
Again, thank you all for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? All right, we have one item on the agenda tonight, the district calendar.
So, thank you everyone. Here to present the draft of the 2021 calendar for next year, the instructional calendar. Not much different than the previous year calendars. Couple of things though, are that we start in August as compared to September because of where Labor Day falls this coming year on the 7th. So students would actually be in starting on the 31st and be in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd and still have a long weekend with the Friday off and the 7th of September off. We would have our, this is the 28th being a Jewish holiday in recognition of that. Being off, it starts at sunset Sunday, but it doesn't end till sunset on Monday. The 12th is a traditional day that we've had in the middle of October to allow for in-service for our staff. Then going into November, we have November 3rd is Election Day. This also serves as the day, half a day of in-service for teachers with the curriculum office, and the other half is the allowing the staff preparation for conferences and their progress reports. Something we're looking at and still exploring, you'll see November 24th is in orange. That is marked as a half day right now of in-service. We're looking to see where we can fit in a couple days of in-service for staff without taking away a student day as well. But we are still exploring those half days and where they fall, only because we don't want to jeopardize it being snow, and the other piece that we limit ourselves to curriculum versus what the building days. And then Thanksgiving break, which carries out the 26th and 27th, and still the 30th. And this calendar is in collaboration with Palisades School District, Quakertown School District, and the Upper Bucks County Technical School. And two of the three, ourselves and Quakertown, have this day off. Palisades is removing it from their calendar this year. So something to still consider if we want to think about. The winter break, the 24th, all the way through the 1st. So we'll be returning on January 4th as the falls on a Friday, so we have the weekend extending that winter break. We have observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day in January the 18th. The 25th being a turnover day of semester market periods. And again, in-service day, half day, and half day for the teachers to prepare for conferences and progress reports. So you go into February, that weekend around President's Day weekend. Of course, we have the student and staff holiday, but offices will be open on the 12th of February. The 15th is a holiday, being the President's Day. And then the 16th would be a no student staff in-service day, full curriculum day. But also, as you can see, it's a snow makeup day. And this is the only snow makeup day built into the calendar at this point. And I'll explain why that is. And we can, again, we can explore further other options, but this I'll explain why at the end. March, as you can see, we have all students in the whole month. So one full month. As we head into the spring break, the first week of April, we have that half a day again here on that early dismissal day on the 1st. That will lead into the spring break, giving an extended time for parents and students if they were going away or anything like that. But we'd have the opportunity to have in-service. And then you go into May, and it's just the Memorial Day celebration. And then as we go into June, and the reason I was saying about these days, these half days and everything else, it would end the students on Friday right now, on June 11th. And then the staff would come in the following week on the 14th for that in-service day. But again, so we only have the one snow makeup day and integrated into the calendar, so any additional days would then be added on to that week of June.
Wait, so I think 14th of June.
What month?
Well, I'm only asking because I have a wedding on the 14th of June. I thought they said it was a Sunday, and that was weird. They were doing it on a Sunday because it's a June. Yeah, it's the 14th of June is a Sunday.
Oh, it's on the calendar off.
20. Oh wait,
The
oh
14th of
2020.
June.
This is 2021.
2021.
Oh.
I was thinking this year. Like,
I was like, wow.
That means they're all off.
Yeah, that means Palisades, Quakertown, and Upper Bucks, Texas.
Showing up
I
on
was
their
so
1 year
confused. Like you're getting married on a Monday? That's really
Even cheaper on Monday.
Yeah, yeah. Hardly anybody will come.
Nobody will come.
So this currently puts the student days at a total of 181 days, the total staff days at 193, because we have 190 staff days that they are in the district, and then the 3 days of PLT, personal learning time, that is broken down to the 14 hours of district hours and 7 hours of building hours. So that's where we are with the draft. Like I said, we've collaborated with the other 2 districts in the Upper Bucks County Tech School, and we're somewhat majorly in alignment here as we go through the calendar. There were a couple days where on November 30th, as I mentioned, because it would be Penridge and Quakertown that would be off, Palisades would just keep their students for that day that would go to the Upper Bucks Tech School because they'll be closed as well. The November 24th is when we are 2 out of 3 that would have that half day. April 1st, the same thing, 2 out of the 3 school districts have a half day, so we would need to keep our students that half day on April 1st. The October 12th, that we flirted around with taking it out and then we put it back in, but there's really no effect. 2 of the 3 schools have full days on that day. And then no, that was just a change. We had it aired where we had this as a day of in-service was actually supposed to be the 25th, so that was corrected. So that's the proposed calendar, the draft calendar for this time. Any questions, comments?
I'm sorry, I took this away from you. The snow makeup day you have in there for the 16th,
Yes.
are the other 2 districts in alignment with that, or?
On the 16th
Of
of
February.
February?
I'm always looking for a way to get a day in March, and February seems kind of risky to me to have a snow makeup day because, well, it's still snowing in February.
I know, and
So-
Kathy and I were actually discussing this earlier, as well as Dr.
Well, really, it's still snowing in March.
I'm always looking to see if we can get like one day in
Quakertown,
March.
that is their snow makeup day,
Okay.
the 16th, and Palisades, that is not a snow makeup day for Palisades.
Yeah, why not?
And for the Upper Bucks County Technical School, it is a snow makeup day.
All right. I tried last year to find a day in there too.
Have you heard any talk from people about the Monday after Thanksgiving? Either way, I mean, the reasoning that they're pulling it back now is because of the change to the Thanksgiving holiday. But has anybody said anything to you about considering it?
Like I said, Palisades, they came to the meeting, they just blatantly said they're cutting it out. So that way, they actually had the extra day here, bring it back to the 10th.
And what was
So
their?
they had the one snow makeup day, and if they needed to add one, they would have the 11th on Friday.
Right, 'cause so the logic there is that has always been the opening of hunting season.
Yep.
And so that's
That's
the
why I'm
history of it. The hunting season now opens on Saturday. So hunting will open, this was the first year they did it. Next year, November 28th will be the opening day of hunting. Now, currently, there is no hunting on Sunday, although there is legislation to change that. So whether that'll be in place that you could actually hunt Saturday and Sunday, you can't currently hunt on Sunday, at least that hunting weekend. And so the question is that day now a day that traditionally it has been a day off in Penrith. And so I think there are some families who that's a day they expect to be off. I think there are other families that are like, why do we have the Monday after Thanksgiving off? And oh yeah, that's right, there's something, right?
Yeah.
And so some of that is just the opinion of the board and whether you feel as though that is a day that is something that is important for Penridge. Is that something we could consider being a school day? Or How do you feel about that?
I was thinking about it this year actually because of the change, and I think the thing did pass.
Oh, did that can be Sunday as well? I did not
I
see
thought it
that,
did
but-
pass, I wasn't sure, if
Okay.
you look it up
I went
on
through both.
the news, it's not quite
Um,
clear.
I'll look it up on.
I kind of-
I
I liked having Monday this year, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, overall Thanksgiving was so late this year, maybe that contributed to it, but on that Monday, I was like, yeah, it kind of feels nice not to be going back when everyone else is, but. I
The other
wonder if
PCRs
people-
were considering the half day on the 24th. That may
Right,
be-
which we don't get apparently, so
Right.
that would be a long, I always think about, spring, you know, the Easter, whatever.
The spring break in April,
Yeah,
and Easter is earlier still this year, in early
yeah,
April.
it's,
Now, in the current school calendar, Easter Monday, which would be the equivalent of April 5th in this calendar, is a snow makeup day.
Is a snow maker.
Next year it is not in this year, which means if we're looking to embed another snow makeup day, now the difference is the Thursday before April this year is a student service day, where it's a half day in the new calendar. Right, so there is a little different around the Easter spring break, in terms of what that looks like, so if we
Right,
just,
because it's so early.
just if you compare it to where we are this year.
So with exception to November 30th, 2020, all of the red holiday days are the same as the other two schools, is that correct?
They are pretty much in alignment with the other two schools.
Because I'm just, I also wanted to have you clarify, you said for September 28th, it is a holiday that starts at
Sunset on Sunday
on Sunday.
and ends sunset on Monday.
And so we had, I think, somebody request that we consider at one point the Tuesday after that, but we can possibly do that, right?
Nah, but I mean, with the holiday being over at sunset on Monday. I guess,
I'm so confused.
yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right, so it would be
Yeah.
over
It
with
would be
then.
over, okay, right.
Was it last year the way that it fell?
It was the way it
Maybe
fell.
it
is
was
the
the,
thing at the Monday.
yeah, it must have
Some
been.
people wanted Monday and Tuesday because it fell on Monday.
And one of the things we have to
I see.
consider, because the other Jewish holiday, which is a Friday night and a Saturday, we have to be careful about activities in school,
Yes.
things not being scheduled for that Friday night, because it begins at Sunday. So we can have school on Friday, but we need to make sure that our calendar stays clear for Friday and Saturday for those individuals who celebrate that holiday. And that's just something we'll handle from a school building standpoint. It doesn't impact this calendar, but it does impact your district calendar in terms of what it is.
According to the game commission, they'll decide that at the January meeting,
There it is.
We'll find out.
later this month.
And I don't know if that makes any difference about November 30th or not. The only thing of having school on November 30th is it backs, it either, you can put it someplace else, you can put a day off someplace else,
Mhm.
or it backs the last day of school up and provides one more day of wiggle room for snow before you kick into the following week, right? Currently, there are only 2 days of snow, because remember the first day of snow is currently forgiving, and the second day is built into the snow season. Which brings me to one other piece I'd like to say out loud to see how the board feels about it. Currently, well, how many times have you heard me say out loud that the most important thing we do is have kids in classroom in front of the teachers, right? So school time is sacred to me. We right now on the first snow day forgive it. And so we just say, you only have to go 180 days, 181, we just give it up, we say, okay, we'll worry about the next one. We could utilize our snow makeup days first, and then give up day 181 if we had to. So what I'm saying is we have a snow makeup day built in, right? So it's February 16th in the new calendar. Let's say we have a snow day January 4th. We could say that snow day is going to be made up on February 16th. We utilize our snow day. We still have 181 school days. We keep 181 school days as long as we can keep 181 school days. We don't give it up first, we give it up last, before. I didn't have a kid even backing up to the Friday of whatever week the school is over, and not until you go to the next week. But I think that's a little more radical than we're ready to handle. But in terms of, it's something I want to say out loud, because every time I looked at this calendar and I go, the very first thing we do is give up a day of school, it makes me go, oh. Why is that the first thing we're doing? So, but it's also been the tradition, and I do understand.
So the first inclement weather day would be made up on the 16th.
On the 16th.
And if we have 3 snow makeup days, we make up the first 3, you know,
Okay.
because like this year's calendar has more snow makeup days than 1. And that's different year in and year out depending on when it falls and when the holidays are. You know, that's not always unique, and we don't always have the same number.
The freebie thing just started last year, the year before. It wasn't, I remember in the beginning, when I first was on the board, we didn't have a freebie day at all. We always had pickups, take
We always
backs,
got
that
that.
on take back days. But, so that's kind of a newer development. So you're saying that you would immediately, no freebie, you make it up, but then when you get to, so, say you had another one, you wouldn't make them make up the next one? So that, because like you would trigger it a Monday.
Right, I would do everything I could to keep it within the week that school is supposed to be over.
Yeah.
Right, so if the last day of school is a Wednesday, you'd still have Thursday and Friday to play with, so you could back up 2 more days. Because families aren't planning vacations to leave Wednesday night, most likely, at least they should
College
be.
pack.
Yeah, right, that, from that standpoint. And then once we get to a Friday, it was a snow day, then you simply say, okay, we don't wanna go to the following week, we'll give that one up, we'll add teachers still work the day from a contractual standpoint.
I think people would be agreeable to that. I mean, I think because, you know, sometimes the take back day, it causes, doesn't it disrupt some people's schedules, like people who,
So my concern is people that plan a
Oh,
vacation over the
vacation,
long
yeah.
President's Day weekend, and
Then
now, surprise, in 2 weeks, you don't have that day off because there was snow. I think it's easier to put on days at the end of the year, because you're not getting snow in April and May, so you would know by the end of March if the school year's gonna go longer. So if it's gonna affect anything that you might have had because the school year's gonna go 3 days longer now, you have some time to plan. Or if a family's got a trip where they're getting on a plane and they're not gonna rearrange stuff and their kid misses the last 3 days of school, I'd rather my child miss 3 days in June, the last 3 days of school in June, than the 16th of February, because we have a ski trip planned, and now there's school, and there's heavy instruction going on in February, as compared to whatever the last days. That's my thinking, so.
Yeah, and it is there, and there are some districts that don't put snow makeup days for
Yeah.
that very reason.
Yeah.
There are other districts that, because it would be an interesting conversation if I've never had to deal with it as a superintendent, like we have a snow makeup day this year on, February 18th. If we had snow February 12th, it'd be an interesting conversation as to whether that's too late to turn around and say, hey, by the way, you're coming to school on Tuesday.
Well,
Right.
Robert's Almanac
It feels
says-
different if it's January 4th and we're making a decision for February 18th, because,
That's
yeah,
different,
if you plan to go skiing for the day, you probably haven't done that 2 months in advance, I hope, if you know it's a possible snow makeup day. Right, it'd be if it were the next week, perhaps, well, we planned on it and we didn't know, and all of a sudden we're pulling the rug out from underneath us. But,
Unfortunately, there is a lot of snow, we're told, in January, February, and March this year, so.
we're saying we're going to.
Really?
It's
Farmers
supposed to be
Almanac.
like 62
Always
though.
Yeah,
On Saturday, right?
So the other piece is Dr. Bolton referred to earlier, this day was a snow makeup day on this year's calendar.
Is this
It
year,
is
right?
a snow
Easter
makeup
Monday.
Easter Monday.
So we could
Makeup day.
make that a snow makeup day again by at least getting 2 back on the calendar. Without touching the 30th, but if you move into the 30th of November.
well, I mean, a vacation's going to be, it wouldn't take care of the problem of using a day. You know, families, if you're planning a vacation, you know, that vacation's been planned. So whether that makeup day is in February or April, and you'll still
Right, it's not
probably
gonna
have
affect
an equal
those
number of
families, too.
people who are gonna be affected, because.
You're never gonna please everybody.
Well,
They're always getting
let's
there.
start with that. That whenever I'm sitting here thinking that as you were talking, like, so basically, you know, whatever you decide,
Yeah.
everybody's going to have an opinion.
And my rule with the calendar is clearly communicated,
Right.
and then that's gonna happen, right?
Right.
We did what we told you we were gonna do.
Right.
You made the
That's true.
decisions as best for your family, right? This is a snow makeup day, so if we have to use it, we use it, right? And and here's how we add days to the end of the year, right? It's the same thing with graduation, right? We announced last year there's 2 graduation dates, this is why we're doing it. There were plenty of people who weren't happy with it, but this is why you do it, and we did it, and we did what we told we were gonna do,
Yeah.
so. I feel as long as you clearly communicate it, you've done what you need to do, but.
I think people will still make the decision they're going to make. They're going
Right.
to-
Yeah.
That's fine,
They're not
and
gonna
that's
do that, they're
fine.
not gonna do
Right.
that.
Yep.
And that's my fear on the 30th. You'll have maybe 30% of the student population out or more. We're still a hunting community, and they're still gonna hunt on that Monday. It's almost, becomes a point that you can't do instruction because you don't have enough kids in the class. So, that would be my fear with messing with the 30th.
And I think that's also like in our communities here, it's like a generational thing, it's passed down. So, grandfather to father to son to her daughter, they're gonna spend that, there are families that really spend that time together. So you have to really consider that, even if like the legislature's changed and the game commission approves, ripping that away from them so quickly maybe have a,
I do know that some of my teacher friends that have students that work in Penridge but live in other districts enjoy that their own children go back to school and they have that data. Because, think about it, they go to
Yeah.
conferences and everything leading up, and then most of them are hosting Thanksgiving and everything else, and it's a
Yeah.
whirlwind, and so like they
They're
feel like they have a day to themselves to kind of get some
Yeah,
Christmas
that's
preparation.
what I'm saying.
So-
This year,
professional
I
development.
sat and thought about it.
Survey the teachers, I think they're gonna want, keep that 30th.
Keep us Cyber Monday.
I think
Yeah,
I'll hunt for
exactly. Cyber Monday, you just steal
I
the
think
deal,
it's
forget
really
the money.
because, like I said, because I knew that it was possibly coming, I actually sat and thought about it this year, and I'm like, you know what, it does feel really good to have this day. I don't know,
Yeah.
to regather yours.
Yeah.
Can I just ask what the board's thought is about making the 5th a second snowmaking day?
That's the day after Easter.
It is, yeah, it's Easter.
Yeah.
There would be a short break,
Sorry.
Yeah,
if necessary.
since they've done their bunny hunt.
Is there?
Whatever Easter.
Whatever they've done on this too.
Funny thing.
They do the spring break. They also go
They're hunting
longer.
men too.
They're hunting the bunnies,
They're
right?
ending the calendar.
Or egg hunting.
Thursday this year, always
We
on
generally do,
This year,
people do it like on
Thursday.
Yeah,
Saturday
but they
and
always,
Sunday.
they also start always in August.
Yeah,
So we
they
start the
always
week
start
before
But
in
that's
August.
the
I mean,
end of the
that's
school week Friday.
Really good start.
If you make that a full day off.
Friday, it's Good
Yeah.
Friday.
And that's- This
Saturday
Friday
and Sunday
is
is when they
when
celebrate
the
the Easter
decision.
holiday.
So,
Right? Saturday and Sunday.
we would end up having, and we've had it before.
That's exactly why.
How many years have we
We've had,
had?
I'm sorry, how-
The day after Easter, is that a tradition that we do it
That's
like
been,
that?
I always had that when I was in school.
Really?
What's that?
Yes,
It's definitely Friday.
I just wanted to see, I have like
30
4 years
years.
back here, but
at least. I would say, I've always remembered the Monday off.
it looks like it's always been a snow makeup day for sure though. And we can go back to making it a second.
I
snow
would-
makeup
I'd
day.
be all right with
I
that.
would be
That's a
okay
good
with that,
idea.
yeah. I don't think you can touch November yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
All right.
I didn't hear consensus in terms of the first day being
Oh, I like
made up or not.
I agree, I think it should be. I don't think that the first one should be a
Do you
freebie.
think it should be or shouldn't be?
Shouldn't be.
Should not be, okay.
Okay, let me just say, I agree with you, Dr. Wolf.
Okay.
That's easier.
I like the free day. That's hard.
I mean, I can't
Oh,
lie,
that's
I
what
love,
I'm asking.
I
I
love
like
the
the freebie.
thought of getting, it's, that unique, an actual, a real snow day. God damn. However, if you presented it to people and let them know that that would prevent you from having to go into the next week, then that might change their, because isn't that what you were saying?
Well, it depends on how many.
Well,
Right.
yeah, I mean.
I would preserve that week as long as possible. There are some